to, if Tony, if you can explain the significance of the PERM Labor Certification, which we spoke about in the last episode, and its significance in the I-140 process. And, even if there are common challenges the employers can face in the PERM process, and how can they be mitigated?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the PERM labor certification is extremely important, right? As is the prevailing wage determination, because without both, without the PWD, without the PERM, you can't even apply for the I-140 application, right? So there are some categories like the EB1A that can be self-petitioned, but that is not the topic of discussion for today. So when you are being petitioned for in the EB2 or EB3 categories, you absolutely must show, to the Department of Labor, and then to USCIS, that you conducted proper recruitment, that you have the ability to pay these wages, and that there isn't anyone else qualified in the US out there to do this job, right? So, did you do the requisite recruitment? Did you keep the proper records to make sure that in case you face an audit at the perm stage, you can show the officer that, hey, look, I've got the record here from the perm filing, from the labor certification. I conducted interviews, no one was qualified, and that is why I need this person, because he's got the skill set, he's got the education, the work experience to actually do this job, and I couldn't find anyone else to do it. In terms of common challenges, I typically like to see, or speak to this through like some of the audit triggers that you typically see in a perm labor certification. Audits can be random, right? There's really no way to control for them. So at times, Department of Labor, they'll just issue an audit on a case because, it's your luck of the draw, right? You got picked by the officer, and your case is going to get audited, right? Completely random. In some instances, there are some reasons where audits can get triggered. And some of those audit triggers can be, hey, you're requiring a degree, but no work experience, right? So sometimes I've seen audits come in where an employer will say, all I require is a master's in computer science, but no work experience. That's going to potentially trigger an audit, right? Where they're going to want to see, well, why can't anyone else in the US that has a master's in computer science do this specific job? Um, Audit triggers can also include jobs that require less than a bachelor's degree, right? Again, why can't someone out here in the US do this job if you're not even requiring, a 4-year bachelor's degree? Um, Other audit triggers can include a family relationship between the owners and the employees, right? That's going to get scrutinized pretty heavily. If the employers experience layoffs in the last 6 months, so typically what you'll see is if a layoff has happened at an employer for at least 6 months, they're not doing any perm filings. And if they do, you're likely going to get triggered for an audit. Um, Other requirements that may not be typical to the industry, right? So, for example, having a foreign language requirement for a software engineer, that's not working with offshore teams. That's going to potentially trigger an audit, right? So, those are some of the common challenges that I see when it comes to the perm labor certification. Is employers can sometimes run into those audit triggers, and don't always have the ability to mitigate those risks. Another risk involved, and this is unrelated to audits, is starting the recruitment when the prevailing wage determination is pending, right? Now, the risk here is that recruitment is only valid for 180 days. So if your PWD takes longer to get approved, then you have to do the recruitment again, you know? Typically, PWD gets issued within 3 to 6 months, but I have seen cases where it takes a year. And I always tell, my clients, the employers, I always tell them, look, let's wait until the PWD is issued before we start the recruitment process. Because if for whatever reason you're in the 10% that the PWD is going to take 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, all of that recruitment, the money you just paid to the agency, the $2,000, $3,000, you've just lost that. You have to do it again, right? Another risk of starting recruitment before PWD is issued is, what if you end up recruiting at a lower wage than what the prevailing wage determination comes back, right? So the prevailing wage determination comes back and says, hey, this individual, based on this skill set, these job requirements, their education, their work experience, all of that should be paid $80,000, but you recruited on $75,000. Again, you have to restart the recruitment process. So that's another risk associated with the PERM labor certification, especially when you do the recruitment prior to the PWD being issued. So those are some of the risks involved with the PERM process.
And you can't really say how long will it take. It will differ from individual to individual.
Yeah, it's highly inconsistent, unfortunately, right? And unlike the I-140 process, with the PWD and the PERM, there's no premium processing, right? So you can't just pay an extra $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, to get a determination within 15 days to speed it up. It really is highly inconsistent across the board.
All right, noted. So I hope folks out there, you know what to do and know when to actually go for the I-140 processing.
Are you an IT consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H-1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us on the number 833-412-8472 or mail us at support@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.